All right, everybody. Today we're taking a look at the new Airbnb news that has people saying that their rental revenues are dropping up to 50% in some parts of the country. Some analysts are reporting that it's much worse than that. Some analysts are refuting that and saying it's nowhere near that. No one's really giving any answers, though. But it's something I've worried about here in Charlotte County in Southwest Florida for quite some time. So we'll take a look at the data, what's going on down here, kind of give you my reasons on why I think this has been a big problem brewing for a long time. And I do think that it's going to kind of come to a head. But before we do that, guys, I'm feeling super awesome today. Thank you, everybody who's been checking my channel out. Went and got a fresh haircut for you. Shout out to Charlotte Harbor Barbers for taking care of me on that. If you guys have not already, please consider giving me a like, a subscribe, a share, and we will dive right into this. All right, so a new report out of MarketWatch says Airbnb rental revenues have plunged in some parts of the US, this chart suggests, but some doubts surround that data. Let's take a look at what they're talking about. So basically, they're quoting data from Reventure Consulting, Nick Jurilli, I don't know how to say his last name. Pretty popular guy on YouTube. If you guys probably have seen him, especially if you're looking at, some of the stuff that I'm doing. Looks like, Texas and Arizona are getting hit the hardest. On his chart here, on his Airbnb revenue collapse, the top 10 cities are all down at least 34%. Orlando, Florida, and Panama City actually sitting down there at the bottom, stating that their revenues are down 34% respectively, from a year ago last May. And then as you go up to the chart, you got Seattle, Washington, Lakeland, Florida, New Orleans, Colorado, Tennessee, Nashville, Asheville, Myrtle Beach, and Austin and Phoenix in third and second place with the biggest percentage drops, followed by Sevierville, Tennessee. I'm messing that up. I'm so sorry. But, all with 46, 47% drops in revenue year over year. Now, in direct response to that, we have Jamie Lane, who's basically saying, oh, look, a viral tweet about short-term rental data, blah, 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 blah. Let's take a look at the real facts. And he pulls AirDNA's data, basically stating that it's nowhere near what Reventure's coming up with. So you can take a look here. The year-over-year changes that they came up with via AirDNA data, much less drastic. Orlando, Florida, is only 10% down. And as you go up the list, you could see 6%, 6%, 14%, with Phoenix being down only 3% for revenue and Austin, Texas being down 7% for revenue. Nobody gives any explanation on why the discrepancy is. It has not yet at the time of recording this, at least. But that's pretty drastic, a pretty drastic difference. So I suspect maybe it's somewhere in the middle there. What I've seen, especially in my area here in Charlotte County over the past few years, is a lot of people who probably should not be interested in investing in Airbnbs, trying to get into it. They tell you that these people bought cash. Some of them did. A lot of people went out and leveraged their house, took from their 401k, and just dove into this Airbnb situation here in Florida because it was the next gold rush, without thinking that, yeah, we've had really good Airbnb returns over the past 2 years because we were the only state that was really open. I can't imagine, guys. Why would everyone be suddenly coming to Port Charlotte, Florida, which, we don't really have a beach. It's not a bad place to live. It's a great place to vacation. But I don't see the huge draw, why all of a sudden did we boom? It's because we're the only place that was open. And I don't know if these people just thought that no other area of the country was ever going to open up again, or Florida is freedom land. I mean, now that the rest of the world is open, people are not coming here to vacation like they could. This is the only place they could get out of any other state and come to and kind of pretty much walk around freely, in 2020, 2021. It's completely reversed now at this point, and for the rest of the world. So to bank on that sort of revenue to continue down the line, to me seems a little crazy, and I think it's left a lot of people in a precarious situation. So why do I think this is a huge problem here and a big problem in a lot of areas of Florida? Well, again, we'll pop back on the Zillow. I'll show you the Charlotte County rental listings, now up to 673 on Zillow. We know, again, it's much higher than that because Zillow doesn't have all of the new construction, new luxury apartments that are coming online. So currently you have 673 rentals annually and seasonally available on Zillow. It's kind of hard to segregate those, but they're mostly annual. So let's take a look at the Airbnbs for Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda. We won't even do the whole county, whole Charlotte County. Let's just specifically take a peek at those areas. All right, so let's kick it off with Port Charlotte. Port Charlotte has 738 active short-term rentals currently. Where did all the rentals go, guys? How come there's no houses to rent, even though now there are a lot of houses to rent? The big question the past year was like, wow, the rent demand is so high around here. Like, these landlords are getting astronomical prices. It's not even so much that the demand went up, it's that they pulled so many what would have been annual rentals off the market and made them Airbnbs. 738 Airbnbs in Port Charlotte, guys. That means if someone's coming here for a weekend, they have 738 options. Let me put that down. 93% of those are the whole house to yourself. So yeah, some of these are a room or maybe a space in a camper or a guest house, but 93% of these are the whole property to yourself. We just don't have that kind of vacation demand here on top of all the hotels we have available and Fisherman's Village, and we've got Sunseeker Resort opening up. So 738 options just in Port Charlotte. Jumping down here to Punta Gorda, 851 active rentals on the short-term rental market for Punta Gorda, 35% on Airbnb, 36% on VRBO, and 29% listed on both, with an average daily rate of $222, 76% occupancy rate. I really don't know enough about it to know if that's great. I'm not good with seasonal rentals or short-term rentals. 851, 96% of those are the entire home rentals. So our area, just from Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda, has over 1,500 short-term rentals. That's insanity to me. If you pull up Zillow, we've only got 500 houses for sale. That includes condos, townhomes. I took out land, obviously. So when you look at things like this, we have 1,500 short-term rentals, we have 500 houses for sale. I can sort of start to see where these people are coming to these conclusions that this is going to cause a big problem for the housing market. Many of these Airbnbs were purchased recently in the last 2 years. As I've mentioned in other videos, I've seen them come on the market. It's very obvious that they were Airbnbs. They're usually fully furnished. They're very well done. They may have like a beach wall or tiki hut or something. Like it's very beachy. You can see, and some will flat out tell you, hey, these have been short-term rentals. Again, it didn't work out for us, but totally buy it off us and it'll work for you. No, we're not going to tell you there's 1,500 competitors in a 8-mile radius. And that's not even getting into Northport and Venice and Englewood. I didn't even touch those areas. Those are, Venice and Englewood are more beachy. I would see the demand there being stronger. Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, I don't think it has any business having 1,500 short-term rentals. But again, we only have 500 homes for sale. I say only now, but that's a lot higher than it used to be. So I can see where they're coming to the conclusion that once these Airbnb or short-term rent investors decide that this isn't really worth carrying anymore, especially with the increased insurance, if you mortgaged it or you took the money from somewhere else and you got to pay it back, they're probably going to put them on the market. If they were all to do that, yeah, it would flood it would, triple our inventory immediately. I don't think that's going to happen. Could it cause a substantial inventory increase down the line? Perhaps. I don't know. I don't know how slow that's going to occur. I do see some of this already happening, like I mentioned, but I don't know if it's going to put a flood of homes on the market. What most of them are going to try to do first is turn them into an annual rental, which you can see is probably fueling some of our supply there as well, why it's been going up so much. But from my previous videos, renters have kind of checked out. The rent demand here is not doing too hot right now. So I don't know how long they'll wait on there till they decide, okay, it's time to sell. MarketWatch does go on to point out that despite signs of weakening in some Airbnb markets, the U.S. consumer doesn't seem to be deterred from vacationing this summer as spending continues to shift from goods towards experiences. That's kind of understandable. I mean, a lot of people for the past 2 years have been locked up in their house. They don't know if that's going to happen again. I mean, we would all hope it wouldn't, but I guess a lot of people never thought it would even come to that in the first place. So they're going to go out and they don't care what it costs. They're going to put it on a credit card. They're going to go wild right now while they have the chance. I mean, I just went on a trip. I get it. I totally understand that. So it basically goes on to say a survey by Alliance Partners released last month predicted total vacation spending exceeding $200 billion this summer. That's 10% higher than 2022 and 39% above 2021's levels, 111% more than pre-pandemic. See, I was about to say, obviously, it's going to be higher than those, but 111% more than pre-pandemic 2019. Then again, vacations cost half what they did in 2019 thanks to inflation. So I don't know how much we can read into that. What this doesn't state is that they're going to be doing this in the US. Just because people are traveling does not mean they're going to be spending the money here. They're probably going abroad based on what I saw, at least over in Europe. Very busy. Again, some things not really a wait to do anything or sit down and eat or anything, but people were out, they were spending money, and I don't know, especially for our area, how much of that 200 billion is coming to Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda this summer. I would probably wager not a lot, especially if most of the country spent the previous 2 years in Florida. They're going to want to do something different. So that could going forward, really affect these Airbnb revenues more. So, conflicting reports online, guys. Don't really know what's going on in other cities and states. If you want to let me know in the comments, that'd be awesome. Kind of give me an idea what you guys are seeing on the ground here in Charlotte County. This is something I've worried about for a long time. I think the chickens are coming home to roost. People that invested here, even just regular landlords in the past 2 years, are starting to find out that things are not going to go the way they thought they were. I mean, places for $1,400 now are sitting vacant, which you couldn't even find a rental for that a couple of months ago. And the problem seems to be is most people cannot qualify for that in the area. We've gone over the median income here per person being about $30,000. They want first, last, and security for that. You got to come up with almost $5,000. You're going to turn around and say, hey, they're offering 1% programs at Rocket Mortgage. I can put 1% down, buy a house. It's going to be the same as my rent. I'm going to go do that. Or I'm going to leave the area. So yeah, going forward here, I think we may see a big problem with it. I don't think it's going to be the massive dump of inventory that people think it is, but it's certainly going to put more homes on the market. So that's all I got for today, guys. Let me know what you're seeing in your area. I appreciate everybody checking this out. As always, please remember to give me a like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I will see you next time.